We once again welcome you all to the next session of Spatial Talks. The topic of this today's talk is Geospatial Technologies Strengthening Biodiversity and Ecosystem Conservation. As we all know that biodiversity and ecosystem conservation features on the top of the priority list towards climate action because we have now come to the realization that it is the nature-based solutions which will help us against our fight to climate change. And and we also know that the greater the diversity of an ecosystem is, the more resilient the ecosystem is. So biodiversity and resilient ecosystems go hand in hand with each other, and they are vital to sustainable development of our planet. So we have to maintain the biodiversity as it is crucial to ensure continuous availability of ecosystem services, which results in increased economic prosperity as well as it reduces the risk to natural disasters. And geospatial information and matrices, they provide accurate information on ecosystem structure and function, and their application provides measurable indicators for change in biodiversity, biological richness, fragmentation, sustainable land use, and forest management. So join us today to listen to our speakers on how geospatial technology is strengthening biodiversity and ecosystem conservation to develop resilient systems which are effectively able to wade through climate uncertainties. So on our panel today, we have Dr. Wataru Yamamoto, who's a forest management and biodiversity specialist from IDES, Japan. Dr. Laxmi N Goparaju, scientific advisor at Vindhyan Ecology and Natural History Foundation, Uttar Pradesh. Dr. Areendran Gopala, he's director in IGCMC at World Fund for Nature in India. And we have Dr. Swati Saini, who's evaluation researcher, GIS and data at Green Climate Fund, Songdo, South Korea. So I would introduce our first speaker, Dr. Wataru Yamamoto. He is a forest management and biodiversity specialist at IDES, Japan, and he's master's in environmental sciences from Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Studies, and PhD in tropical agroforestry from University of Wales, UK, and CATI, Costa Rica. He's an international forestry agroforestry consultant with more than 25 years of experience in forestry projects in almost 23 countries, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And he has worked as a team leader for project management consultants of several JICA-funded forest projects in India. So welcome to Dr. Wataru.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
So you can, yeah, you can start.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation for this presentation. Actually, Yojita and I work together in a Tripura project right now. So I'm in Tripura. And then since I'm not a specialist, my knowledge is very limited for the spatial science and technology. But since we are catching up, things are catching up these days, advancing dramatically. I have to learn from this special talk rather than talking, but I just try to present what I think right now for the this topic. So do you see this slide? Do you see the slide?
Yeah, we can see you. We can see you. Yeah, we can see you.
You can see the slide?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the topic I'm talking is enhancement of forest ecosystem service by spatial technology. How can we make a better project performance? That basically this special talk is about. then I try to make some my opinion about that. So outline goes like this. First, introduction, and then some project framework, input, output, and then outcome. And then I'd like to review a history of the forest sector in India, from tree cover to forest services, and the forest ecosystem service and the beneficiaries, technically how it works and how it's object-wise target the beneficiary. And then some example of a project, Green India Mission, which is rather big project. I'm not directly involved, just a brief idea of the Green India Mission. Since I work for a government project, it's not so defined as a NGO type project, but also a sustainable catchment forest management project from Tripura, which I work now, and there's been some conclusions. Okay, so last decade, forest policy in India has been changed from a simple cover increase by plantation, and then changed to the joint forest management with local community participation, and then that plus came to then theme changed to carbon stock increase, and then now we are more talking about adaptation and the enhancement of forest ecosystem service. That's the status right now. And then, recently the spatial technology have been advanced rapidly. Satellite image and then smartphone, mobile apps, etc. Changed the game. And interventions through afforestation, A&R for enhancement of ecosystem service need to be more elaborated by zoning to enhance ecosystem services that target site and beneficiary of a project implementation invention need to be selected. More connectivity is not well considered, and so application technology can enhance the impact of a project implementation dramatically by using a new technology, etc. So that's our idea. So project framework, I describe it like this. Project has an input, human resources, and then project output directly, if input is there, output is achieved. Just the plantation, protected area management, habitat improvement, conflict management, or pest control, or for the biodiversity conservation, or livelihood development, for the forest bridge population, agroforestry, income generation, convergence with other sector, etc., which is the output directly. If you do the project implementation with investment, it will be happen. But after that, we expect some outcome enhancement of ecosystem services, timber, non-timber, water resource status better, or carbon stock increase. These are the project outcome. So enhance habitat is enhanced, and population of wildlife is increased, or endangered species increase, or livelihood status of community is enhanced. These are the output, not directly by investment. Investment goes to the project outcome, and then output goes to the project impact. That is the goal. So that objective is a goal, but through the input and then output and then outcome input. So how the spatial technology can enhance the project input. These are the roughly idea project input and output level that can be improved by decision making of project manager, better monitoring of forest officer, project staff, by mobile reporting system or project better monitoring of project intervention area by satellite image more frequently, not from the beginning to the end and the middle, and then you can improve some enhancement of the vegetation or anyway, it had to come back to the project management, and then decision making will be better. That can be done by spatial technologies. And also from output to the outcome level, project evaluation for the future project is impact assessment, forest cover, water resource, carbon stock, harvest, etc. Also, it can play the role to improve the forest ecosystems services. Can be improved by special technology. And then, of course, then as you see the project input and project outcome. Outcome will be improved by project special technology, but in this case, support more like a project design of the project, clear target area and the beneficiary for enhancement of forest cover, water resource, carbon stock, etc. Forest ecosystem services can be better planned by special technology. So if you see the history of India sector, it's a long history, 1965, Property and Conservation Act, 1980, National Forest Policy, 1988, Joint Forest Management, 92, and then 2006 Forest Right Act. So the framework is already made in 1988 Forest Policy. It has everything actually, but actual implementation of these things takes time. Joint Forest Management in the 1990s, and then Forest Right Act is enacted, and then 2008 Red Plus proposal, and then entire world is going toward from increased forest cover to the community livelihood in 1990, but it's moved to the climate change mitigation, and then crazy about the carbon stock increase, and then Green India emission emerged in 2014, and then 2015 National Adaptation Fund, then 2018 finally National Red Plus strategy, and then National Forest Policy is 1918. But basically, it's start from forest cover to the ecosystem, community participation, carbon stock, and then now adaptation, resilience, and then ecosystem services. We are working on this trend of entire world capturing in India continent. So forest policy 2018 said forest for ecosystem services, and then prepare the soil erosion and land degradation, and then enhancing the ecosystem services through tree cover, and then increase tree cover, and then enhance ecosystem services. And this is the stage right now. So how the forest ecosystem service work? I see basically mechanism is the same, but the ecosystem service on a slope. So target forest management, diversified tree species, develop more layer, mature layer, and this could feed a wild animal and including a bird, etc. And then more available landscape. And then ground cover is fallen leaves and more thicker soil, organic matter with decomposition, tree bed with seedling, small, not seedling, sapling growing here, and then enough forest, enough light will come to the lower canopy also with multiple layer. That's make a soil erosion prevention and biodiversity conservation as well. So on the river side, riparian zone, riparian vegetation was very high level of biodiversity. If you study the biodiversity, if you conduct biodiversity assessment, if you see most of the biodiversity on the riparian zone, to make a more thicker layer near the river with a filter strip, transitional zone, and overbank zone, riverbank, and then go to the river platform area, overbank elevation, etc., which will prevent disaster like flood, etc. That's the idea. These two are basically I see as a forest ecosystem services. And then if you see it from an objective-wise section of site and then beneficiary, this is, if you see, this is the original landscape. There are some village and then river and then trees are here. Before it was okay for increase any tree cover anywhere plantation site can be selected and more convenience of the project implementation and the increased tree cover was done more easier than by forest department. But joint forest management are more focused on a community and the community benefit in upper forest area and catchment, and the community get the benefit and the forest enhanced. Then now ecosystem services have to consider the river flow and the beneficiary from upper to lower. Detailed design on catchment treatment and riparian restoration is required for connect the demand, which is community, and then supply the forest of ecosystem services. These are the stage we have been working on. Right now, I see that we are in a stage for enhancement of ecosystem services. So how the actual project works, I would like to present two projects, Green India Mission and Sustainable Catchment and Forest Management Project in Tripura. Both are big projects, but the Green India Mission is so big, so I'm not directly involved with, so just a rough idea of GIM. So Green India Mission is one of the 8 missions of a National Action Plan on Climate Change. And the sub-mission is under the Green India Mission is enhance the quality of forest cover and improve ecosystem services that we are talking about. So this is a very important project, big project for the topic we are talking about. Ecosystem submission 2 is ecosystem restoration and increase in forest cover. Submission 3, enhancing tree cover in urban and peri-urban area. And agroforestry and social forestry and outside of forest area, and restoration of wetland. And then there are some intervention promoting alternative livelihood, livelihood support, etc. So how they choose the area? They choose a land area in sea level landscape, basically landscape 1, broad landscape of importance, and then it's contiguous area of forest and non-forest area. They focus on the non-forest area too, but yeah. And in a given landform catchment, and landscape 2 is operational unit, and then working landscape 3 is a cluster of village level JFMC. So in the case of West Bengal, I was a little bit involved. Landscape 1 chose 8 catchment, and then landscape 2 is watershed. The selection criteria is a forest cover, groundwater level, open forest, wasteland, BPL, family, scheduled tribe caste, rainfall, JFMC member, and forest fire affected area. These are the operational units selected to suited to watershed. And then 539 micro watersheds are selected as potential forest area, logging area, abandoned mining, road, canal site associated with JFMC. These are the actual implementation area was selected. Target area was 37,000 hectares, selected from 14 million hectares. So I just want to show the roughly the idea of green emission.
Dr. Wataru, you have muted yourself.
Oh yeah, sorry. These are the area of West Bengal GIM area is 40 million hectares, and then with this small area, 2A, 2D is go to here, and then these are the micro watersheds selected. These are the scale of the project. These are the actual implementation of the project site. Oh, do you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, do you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Somehow it's mute. So second project I want to say present is a sustainable catchment forest management project in Tripura. The objective is to improve quality of forest and catchment, soil moisture conservation, and then livelihood development, part of the project activity, and then through JFMC selected from 135B. So very similar to the approach of green emission. And then beat selection criteria, we selected the beat of 135 from 600 feet. And there's a land factor, which is a land factor and a social economic factor considered for the beat selection, which is degraded status of forest degradation, and then soil erosion risk. And then as a source, socioeconomic factor, RFO land, ratio of number of ripe recognition of forest right household in the community, and then dependency on forests, and then livelihood. The poverty level, these are come from census data from panchayat. Census data and panchayat. So these are the criteria we fit. And actually, the small stated are small, like a 10,000 square kilometer, and then pretty much a large area as selected for the beat if it's on a catchment side. So, and then for each beat, beat forest basic plan was prepared, and then we selected the project priority area based on a canopy density and then slope level, and then village selection was also continuously used. The parameter used for the beat selection, alpha landowner percentage of casual labor as main income, and also project priority area in the vicinity and slope percentage, and then willingness to participate. So these are the area example of one beat, which is the red part is a project priority area, and the beneficiary village, and 2 kilometers around the village. These are the target project implementation site. And then each village has a micro plan, and then planning was done for the afforestation, A&R, catchment, soil moisture conservation, and then also livelihood activity, IGA, and NTFP processing, etc. So these are my presentation, and I'd like to conclude like this. So spatial technology is a strong tool to enhance performance of a project, aiming at the enhancement of forest ecosystem service. Spatial technology can support project in 3 ways: project planning, implementation monitoring, and the impact assessment. So project implementation can be monitored more frequently, more effectively using the mobile apps, satellite image, etc., which support, which come back to the project management, and then project management to change the way to manage project. Then we can get our performance of the project. For project impact, project need to be designed well, connect the demand and the supply of forest ecosystem services. For instance, degraded forest land and water scarcity village have to be well connected. As we can see from the Green India mission, there's a big project like Green India mission has a huge gap to play, but there's so many ways to go, and then there's so many ways to enhance the methodology using spatial technology. So, and then at least I can say publicizing the spatial organizing socio-economic data can help a better and smooth project design. When we design the project, we analyze using GIS as integrated forest and then slope, etc. But socioeconomic data, it's like a census data and a village, and then these are the mess. So if census data and then such disaster data, if they are specially well organized, village or other Grand Panchayat, I don't know, district, if it's available, it's much easier to design the project smoothly and in better way. We spent quite a lot of time to organize this socioeconomic data, especially. That's why it's important. And also the clustering the target area for implementation, efficient implementation, we have to know the capacity and then cluster that part. And that part not so well considered in a project design stage, and that also there's a role for the spatial technology. Then, thank you very much. And then this is I just want to show this is a Tengapali traditional community-based forest watcher in Odisha. Their community people are monitoring the forest every day. Somebody goes and then if they have a mobile apps, probably we can see where they are watching every day. Okay, thank you very much. So that's all.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Yamamoto, for such an insightful presentation and also highlighting the gaps in the current implementation process and how like all those spatial planning and spatial inputs are being considered in most of the project implementation. But still, it needs a more refined approach in terms of actual including the socioeconomic data and the people's data into the entire project implementation work frame. So thank you so much. We move on to our next speaker, Dr. Laxmi N Goparaju, and she is an environmentalist and scientific advisor at Vindhyan Ecology and Natural History Foundation, India, and a vivid writer. Her role as a regional ambassador for Asia Women Plus in Geospatial has demonstrated team building, capacity development, and women empowerment among various countries of Asia. She holds a doctoral degree in environmental science and technology from Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Hyderabad, Telangana. And she was also a former researcher at National Remote Sensing Center, Hyderabad, Telangana. So over to you, Dr. Goparaju. You're muted.
Hello, I hope you can see me. You can see my screen also?
Yes, the screen is also visible.
Okay.
Just it has to be in the slide mode.
Okay.
Slideshow mode.
Yeah, now it is fine. Now I hope you can see.
Yeah, it is. The slides are there. Can you just put it on the slideshow mode?
Okay, I think I'll stop sharing and again share.
No, slideshow okay. Mode from the down.
Okay, I think now it's fine.
Yeah, you can. So I just wanted to put it on the.
It's in slideshow only. Yeah, it's in slideshow only for me.
Okay. So you can start.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Women Geospatial Coterie, and thank you, Yogita, for the beautiful introduction. So today I'll be speaking upon geospatial technology, strengthening biodiversity and ecosystem conservation. So I'll be this is a little introduction about myself, but I think Yogita has given a better explanation. So I'll skip this. And so my initial slides will be a little bit about the basics, or just for the sake of the audience, that why we need to conserve biodiversity. It is a natural reservoir and it is depleting fast. And we will lose a treasure of many plants and animals, many medicinal plants, as well as the green cover regulates the climate. So without which I think we will be facing many consequences in future. So to begin with, how does Earth observation helps us in studying biodiversity? Just now, Dr. Wataru had given a beautiful explanation about the need of spatial technologies. So in that context, I'll explain this like we can use for studying habitat suitability, then spatial and temporal domain, vegetation health, monitoring, prediction, mapping, climate parameters, and finally restoration. So habitat suitability is like large mammals, definitely like big and wild cats and other things. We can, with the help of remote sensing data, uh, channelize or narrow down the habitat which is suitable for them. And then we can corner them off for further protection or conservation. Then spatial and temporal domain, we can study in a large scale, maybe a region or state or from a village to the state level, in fact. And over a period of time, how the forest cover has changed or how things are changing, that also we can have a look. And then vegetation health, how the forest is maintaining its vegetation health. So this is based on the various indices which we derive from the Earth observation data. And then monitoring, we can continuously monitor over a period of time if it is for a specific area or a region. Then again, we can, based on models, we can also predict how things will be changing in the future. And then mapping is one of the most important aspect. And then climate parameters, now we can integrate climate parameters also to predict or to know what will be the situation. So in this case, mostly we can predict the drought situation, or we can monitor the drought situation in adverse climatic conditions. And then we can also channelize areas for restoration, which all areas we need restoration and how those practices can be put into place. So with the help of I want to explain like how we have the new technology, even in geospatial technology, has helped us in overcoming the traditional remote sensing methods. So the use of open source data, which is free and which is available for everyone, and we can use it as much as possible. So to name a few, like QGIS, which is a software, remote sensing software, which is free. Earlier we had licensed softwares, even though those are available now also, but the drawback between paid and unpaid. So QGIS is a free software which we can use. Then again, Google Earth Engine, which is a cloud platform, it has many other capabilities. And then Mapbox, which I think is much more easier. Anyone can map with any amount of data available. So this has facilitated us in bringing the remote sensing analysis to the people. And so in this, again, the back end or whatever the things are running behind, some of them are like, this is the advent of programming and coding into the geospatial world. So there are some of the things like Jupyter notebooks, repositories, libraries, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. So Jupyter notebooks are actually Python program based, Python or some other things. I'm not basically a coder, so I can't say much deep about it, but I know how they are helping us. So Jupyter notebooks, and then there are repositories from where we can download data or access data with quite ease. And then there are libraries from where we can call, again, this is programming based. So where we can call all the related functions or related codes, and then we can utilize it. And then comes the artificial intelligence, which people have heard right now, and machine learning. So artificial intelligence and machine learning are,
Excuse me, madam.
yes.
Excuse me, madam. Your slide is not moving, if I'm right. It's not moving
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
The slides are moving. Yes.
Just a second, I'll stop sharing and then share again.
Dr. Laxmi, if you are having any issues, you can share the presentation with me and I can put down here.
Now you can see?
Not yet.
No, no, no. You're not still sharing your.
Okay. So I'll just send Yogita.
Yeah, you please share
Yeah,
it
yeah.
with me. And I'll.
I think I should not waste time and let the other person continue.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So our next speaker we have on the panel is Dr. Areendran Gopala. So Dr. Gopala, he's a director in IGCMC Remote Sensing and GIS Center at Worldwide Fund for Nature. And he's trained as a wildlife ecologist. Research interest lies in application of remote sensing and GIS in nature conservation and resource management pertaining to forestry and ecology, biodiversity information system, forest mapping and monitoring, landscape ecology, forest management, wildlife habitat analysis, and geospatial data analytics. He has been awarded a doctorate in wildlife science from Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun. Over to Dr. Gopala.
Yeah. Thank you, Yogita. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak to various experts who are attending this talk. Well, my talk is focusing on how this technology helps in conservation, especially in the biodiversity conservation, ecosystem conservation. So geospatial has played a major role right from the beginning of last 35 years in India, where we have extensively used the satellite and GIS technology in the field of conservation, whereas it started with especially in the application field of agriculture, then forestry, now extensively into the level of where we can monitor habitats and habitat quality and corridor quality or extensions of protected areas and connectivity, and a lot of algorithms been used, as my earlier speaker was mentioning about using advanced level of programming where you can use artificial intelligence and machine learning to predict things. So to start with, as this topic goes on forestry, especially on biodiversity, the term biodiversity was coined way back in 1985. Basically, it's more than almost 3-4 decades where it's way back in Wilson in 1980, and had clearly mentioned about how the biodiversity meant important to the environment. Of course, environment science has been there for the last 40-50 years, but biodiversity took a different trajectory and as a curriculum and as a separate subject from environment science from 1996. And way back in mid 1980s, it started getting more prominence in the universities, and the subject exclusively allocated for in detail research and research, as well as also in detailed discussions on various subjects pertaining to biodiversity and the conservation of biodiversity. And these days, the subject has evolved to a level of landscapes. So from species, biodiversity, species richness, species, environment, now the landscape approach. That's the latest trend which is happening in the field of conservation, in the field of biodiversity and forest. GIS has always played a major role way back, as I said, last 30-35 years in field of conservation in the both biodiversity as well as the species level conservation. The initial stage, let's say 30-35 years, land use used to be the major analytical layers which has been discussed much to understand how much of biodiversity, where are the biodiversity has been present spatially, and what level of biodiversity can be protected, where it is needed protection. But now we have reached a stage where we can have big data sets to understand the species level and richness, which is required various environmental parameters as a whole and holistic approach, and protecting a landscape for ecosystem services. Various ecosystem services constitute within a landscape, and we can do analysis pertaining to each ecosystem, how they are interacting and how they are interplaying. And technology has reached a stage that from various last 30-40 years, from resolution of few meters to now few centimeters, where we can access satellite images to understand what's happening live on the ground, and powered with big data sets and various computer programs using artificial intelligence and machine learning. We're able to evolve and predict using a climate science also to understand what's happening exactly on the ground as well as on the environment. India has been one of the, as everybody understands, that 17 mega biodiversity countries in the world, which includes Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Venezuela, Philippines, South Africa, China. So various countries, India ranks among them, and we have 7 to 8% of the world's species. Mega biodiverse country we can call India, and 7 to 8% of the world's species present in India. And now among the Asian country, if you look at South Asian country or Asia Pacific, 5 mega biodiversity country in Asia, India ranks the top, and Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, and China ranks among them. Now let's go back various million years back, how this flora and fauna started getting distributed in the country, or let's say within India. So if you look at the geological history and Indian subcontinent, there's a profound effects of climate and on the biota. So late Permian, 250 million years ago, if you look at the Paleotheous Ocean and Tethys Ocean and Panthelus Ocean, they were all huge together as a Pangea. They were as a huge single continent which was present. Eventually, what happened way back in the middle Jurassic year, 160 million years ago, then Madagascar in the mid-Cretaceous year of 90 million years ago, slowly they started colliding 15 to 20 minutes before colliding into Asia in the early Cenozoic, uplifting the Himalayas. So the middle Jurassic area, the Gondwana started the new land. I would call it a continent, or let's say multiple continents, whereas in the middle Jurassic era, the Gondwana, East Gondwana, and during Cretaceous Tertiary 65 million years ago, they slowly started evolving due to the tectonic plate movement. The entire as a whole continent, they started breaking up into various slowly into various continent due to the platonic movement, and eventually India got segregated. So one advantage of India, present day India, having a better biota, in the sense had a great advantage of getting segregated from this land, from the Gondwana. We have various contribution of various elements from Africa, Madagascar, and often from Seychelles also. We have biota distributed from, so that advantage we had of having from various from, distribution from various uh, land masses. So if you look at the example, plant taxa include two genera of trees related to figs as well as family of Dipterocarpaceae, which is actually a contribution from because of India having a earlier connections. All it was joint with the various land masses that the distributions or the migration of these species happen, and that advantage we had. Now, coming to the Convention on Biodiversity in 1993, which is also a very important legal bound, whereas in 1993 December, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, everybody know at summit, the beginning of the Convention of CBD happened, where conservation the biological diversity, sustainable use of its component, fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from the genetic resources, and 196 parties, which include signed uh, to this convention, under this convention, which includes the 195 states and European Union. Then had the Biodiversity Act within India 2002, which actually talks about protecting this. It's just a part of those convention. Earlier, it took us 10 years to come down with the Biological Diversity Act. The National Biodiversity Authority was set up, and its main purpose is to protect and preserve the national biodiversity resource of this country. A lot of research has been resource has been provided in this field, especially within after the Biological Act has been done, and a lot of many laws and regulations has been already been has been passed and it's been implemented in protecting the biodiversity of this country. And we also have this International Biodiversity Day celebrated on 22nd May every year. It's based on the convention, December 2000 UN General adopted 22nd May as International Biodiversity Day. India, if you look at specifically as India, 17 countries identified. India is one of the top, as I said earlier, and India leading to the among the 5 in the Asia. We have right from all the if you look at species number in India, or let's look at the richness, we have carnivores, all the cat families we have distributed like tiger, even from Arunachal to down south. And we have such a varied ecosystem, right from Ladakh to down south. If you look at the oceans, or if you look at the deserts in the west, or if you look in the northeast, we have a very good biodiversity forest, excellent forest with high biodiversity richness. So we have a varied biodiversity characteristics present in the country. And if you look at the mammals, we have more than 400 mammal species present in the country, and more than birds, more than 900 birds in this country. Also, we are also addressing the more than various SDG goals, which addresses especially the goal number 15, which talks about managing the land ecosystem, life on land, where we are sustainably managing the forest, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation to halt diversity loss. So, and also sustainable goal 13 to take how to combat the climate change and its impact. Goal number 14 of the 2030 agenda, sustainable use of oceans, marine and resource for sustainable development. And goal number 2, end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition, promote sustainable agriculture. So we address so many goals of the SDGs under the biodiversity aspects of our biodiversity. Now coming to the what is the main various reasons so we have such a high diversity richness. As I said, we have angiosperms, 18,532 species in this. Still yet new species has been discovered. We have 1,500 species of butterflies, fishes. If you look at 2,000, amphibians 405, reptiles 450, birds 1,395 well documented, mammals for around 400. So imagine the depth and the rich biodiversity of various taxas of both flora and fauna available in our country. And what are the main reasons contributing to that? Variations in elevation from sea level to nival zone. So sea level if you look at, we have oceans, more than 7,000 square kilometers of oceans running in the east and west of India in the down of south. And in the Himalayas, we have a zone up to 7,000, 8,000 meters of height. So you look at the variation from 0 to 8,000 across the country. And the physiographic, climatic, and geography of India varied, and the protection of wildlife tradition in Indian history, right from rituals as well as the latest various wildlife acts and various forest department implementing those acts, is actually one of the main reasons which is protecting the biodiversity richness. And we have enough protected areas. We have more than 700 protected areas in the name of tiger reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, and conservation reserves. So imagine the amount of, across the country. It is not focused in one or two states, but all the states has some part of protected areas present in them in the name of natural reserves or in the name of a tiger reserve or a national park. And also sentiments, cultural sentiments of the people, very much imperative in protecting this resource in the country. And a lot of movements. We have a lot of conservation movement the last 30, 40 years, which people have been actively participating in protecting these resources. And also our enabling laws and policies. And one reason also vegetarianism, highly reason for protecting this fauna of this country. And interestingly, we have 26 recognized endemic centers for flowering plants in this country, 30% of the world flora we have, and 7.31 global fauna is present in the part of this continent, India. Now, one of the main reasons, as I said earlier, the best advantage of we having faunal immigrations into the Indian subcontinent from Ethiopian inflow, Palearctic inflow, and Oriental inflow. So from Oriental inflow, if you look, we have tiger, gural, gaur, and sambar. And from the Palearctic, snow leopard, bral, and ibex. And Ethiopian, we have Laina, Haina, and Chinkarov. So all of them, once upon being connected in the Gondwana land, has contributed to the biological richness of this country. So its flora and fauna includes both European, African, Eurasian, and Mediterranean elements. That's the best part of India being a confluence of these three regions. And to add to that, as I said earlier, we have national parks 106, wildlife sanctuary 565, tiger reserves 52, conservation reserves 100, community reserves 219, and we also have various other IBAs, India important bird areas, Ramsar sites, and natural heritage. So all of them add ice on the cake, I would call, protecting the high richness, biological richness of this country, and extended, protected area network across the country. Now, what are the threats to this biodiversity? Threats faced by forests include rising population, ecological disaster, due to man-made also, habitat fragmentation, which is highly contagious these days, which has been highly discussed, linear infrastructure development, forest fires, land degradation, and mining, which is highly latest contemporary subject. People are looking, all the forest department looking into the land degradation issues and looking for lands for forest land restoration. These are the areas where they're focusing on. And recently, due to climate change and various other factors of invasive species, which is where we are protected areas slowly getting infected with this invasive species, shifting cultivation various places, and human interference. So these are the major threats. So way back in 1980, if you look at the population, we had enough resources, natural resource. By 2000, we started growing and the natural resource was going in. And now we have a report by the WWF that we've already consumed next year for 2023 resources has been already consumed by January, February will be finished. So that's a level of our footprint is growing. Really we need to look into those issues. Now, I'm going to focus on the applications of geospatial technology for how we do use this technology to monitor and manage this biodiversity. So both combined, put together the technology, the GIS as a software and the data in source from the remote sensing has played a major role. Right, last 35 years is evolved from just observing Earth, more of using an Earth observation system to understand what is spread, now to the level of using these data sets, using algorithms to model and understand what could be, how it could be planned, how it could be managed if there is a change in a climate change, parameter of 1 or 2 degree, and how that will impact our rivers and our forest, or change in species combinations, or if there is a infrastructure coming up, where all those impact will happen within the protected areas or across the protected areas or nearby the protected areas. And if there is a disaster resilience, if you have to plan for a disaster resilience, this technology plays and help us in getting an insights in using these data sets. Now, applications aids varies from land use, land cover, which is one of the most basic things to understand what is on the ground exactly, to understand where are those, within a land use, if you look at where are those forested area, where are the agriculture, where are the human interferences happening, where those ecosystems are interplaying, where are the water resources, those sort of the analysis only feasible in a larger scale in a shorter time using this technology like remote sensing. It also helps us in understanding the biodiversity richness of an area or across how they are spread, and especially if you look at a certain species, how their habitats are managed, how their habitat can be managed or can be preserved, or can be improved or improvised using restoration technology. So technology plays a major role, and it also helps in quantifying the amount of carbon sequestration in any particular ecosystems. These days we have enough sensors and various proxy sensors and proxy data sets to analyze and understand what is a carbon sequestration happening in an area, or let's say given a plantation or a forested area or even an agricultural field. And also it understands fire management using fire spots. We have enough data sets freely available from the firms NASA, where every day you get the fire alerts to understand how much of area is burnt and where future fire is likely to happen based on the biomass predictions. So these are the level we reached last 30 years to manage our ecosystem better, despite having so much of population interference and growth in and we have India as highest. I'm sure all over globe there's an issue, but India has more than 50% of the population are dependent on rivers and natural ecosystems. So the pressure is very, very high, with less resource and more population increasingly, and change in habitat and land use has slowly increased. And those monitoring, those systems, those changes can be immediately monitored. Unfortunately, these changes are also causing a lot of human-animal conflicts across the protected, across India landscapes and various areas across the protected areas. So they have been very effective. This technology has been very effectively used in this field, especially in the protecting the biodiversity. I'll give some examples. Mapping land use landscape changes. This is one of the very popular first set of analysis, or any preliminary analysis. These days we can even predict what will likely will happen next 30 to 40 years based on the rate of changes happening on the ground. So various data sets can be used. Freely available data sets are there already available. Even Indian data sets are now freely available. You have Landsat data from NASA, and Indian IRS set data sets, and Modi's data is available, where you can use this data set to understand what is the pattern of this landscape changes happening, irrespective of what the changes, irrespective of which direction they changes, you can get an idea what's happening on the ground, and also predict using various modeling methods to understand what likelihood next 10 years these changes where it is going to reach. Those are the level we can do analysis using this technology. Both GPS, satellite, and GIS combined together, it gives a potential to environmental management. Then one of the example, we can these days even monitor the wildlife corridors, how they are behaving, how the animals are moving based on the collar data sets. So we can collar any of the, let's say, tiger, elephant. We can color using satellite data sets, where they're moving, which habitat they're using, assessing their habitat requirement, daily habitat, monthly habitat, or a seasonal habitat, where they are moving. Based on this, we can come out with map and understand where they're moving, and come out with those mitigation risks to enhance the species survival. Other than that, also understand what is the human conflict issues happening, why they are moving towards a village or anything, what are the resources available. So you can manage and can plan accordingly and reduce the human animal conflict. So technology helps majorly in understanding how this, and also the conflicts. Where are those areas of conflicts, where these corridors are getting disintegrated, or let's say fragmentation, to understand, so the restoration attempts can be made to protect those corridors and reduce human animal conflicts. And there are various methodologies. I don't want to go detail into this, but there are thousands of methodology available these days, various algorithms available where you can use those to understand which is the best path for the animal to move around. Based on that, you can decide which are those areas where the plantations can be, let's say restoration can be taken up. Then not only that, even ecosystem level we can do assessment. Suitable habitats, one for the species level. There are various models available, Max and Gorp. These days we have many artificial intelligence based algorithms available to run these models and understand what are the likelihood requirement of a species habitat, where they are moving based on the climate change. You can also input the climate change data and understand the sensitivity of their extension of their home range or change in their home range, their habitat, depending upon the season, how they are changing. So this tool, GIS as well as satellite imagery, helps them in understanding this nitty-gritty, what's happening on the ground, and plan the management decisions accordingly. And mapping of fragmentation. This is one of the tool which is much used, especially in the forestry sector, where we can understand what is happening in the fragmentations. Where are those areas, outside protected areas, where the fragmentation due to the land use change is happening, to address contiguity of a forest or importance of density of a forest, very, very important characters in management. So if you have a very good crown density or a density of a, let's say, contiguity of a forest, where the fragmentation is happening, how can be a management effort can be taken into consideration to reduce this fragmentation? It will be very, very, this technology and the tool helps us in understanding the fragmentation nature and amount of fragmentation that's happening. Then forest fire, as I said earlier, is very, very important. This is forest ecology plays a major role, and especially in the forest management, fire has played a major role. And understanding the fire pattern, fire directions, as well as where likelihood the fire is likely to happen, those sort of analysis can be used, and various other parameters can be brought in to understand the ground level to monitor those forest impacts on the ground. And human activities along with these various parameters like land cover, topography, soils, vegetations, those things can be taken into account to understand where are the likelihood the forest fire will happen, so that management decisions can be taken in protecting and arresting these forest fires. Then coming to the hydrological aspects, various basin studies, minimum environmental flow services, those things can be understood using this technology, where we can based on the this technology and data sets. These days, we can even plan your hydrological movement. Let's say the environmental flow, minimum environmental requirement for an area for a species survival can be planned using this technology. And not only to even the aquifers level, vulnerable aquifers as well as areas available of less groundwater. What is the implementation we need to take those areas for improving the groundwater? So that's a level of water resource can be monitored using this technology. Then, as the technology has evolved, these days we have drones and UAVs, which is used for understanding in a shorter span of area. If you're looking into a crop pattern or a crop disease, or let's say even in a forested area for animal monitoring, you can use drones and various UAVs to understand what's happening, even fire monitoring, and even for poaching, if there is a poaching happening, or you can monitor those things using this technology. So now, eventually, along not only the satellite data, but locally low flying technology using this drones and UAVs can be understood, and immediate rescue. Let's say if the flood areas impact or a fire spread area, those can be monitored. We don't have to wait for a satellite data. You can fly these UAVs and you can map those areas. And LIDAR is one technology which is coming up in a bigger way, and hyperspectral is another technology which is coming up to understand the patterns of forest, for patterns of species, or to understand the structural dimensions of a forested area. And I think can be used these technologies for a smaller area. In-depth analysis can be done using this technology. Not only that, grassland monitoring, what is happening in the high altitude grasslands or in the wasteland areas where these grasses are, grasslands is a very important productive area where the carbon sequestration is the most highest, whether it's a grassland or mangroves. This technology has been extensively used, and it's been used been used. So to understand the where are the spread of this grasslands is happening, and how it can be protected, they can be mapped and monitored. So this is the level of the data sets available to understand the productive landscapes. Soil erosions, landscapes, land erosions, or landslides. These also can be monitored using the this technology. Both GIS and remote sensing plays a major role. It's not only that for an instant, it can be monitored for a longer time, and you can also look in what was the earlier situation. Go back with the vintage images and understand what was the earlier situation, what is the present situation, how the development has happened, where are likelihood the landslide is likely to happen, where the soil erosion you can count, you can estimate what is a soil erosion likely to happen, or even understand how much of soil erosion and how that is impacting the local landscape level. So that's a level of analysis these days GIS has been used for doing and understanding the ecology. Not only that, invasive species is another thing. We have hyperspectral data to understand how this invasive species is slowly occupying those fringes or even into the forested area. The ecology of forest can be monitored. Habitat quality can be monitored using this technology. So that's a level of advancement has happened, especially with the technology. Then urban, not only that, urban ecology, mainly looking at the urban heat islands, expansion of urban area, extension of urban expansions. Where are those likelihood loss of urban greenness is happening? Those level of understanding and the data sets can be monitored and understood using this technology. So application doesn't restrict only to the ecology or above forestry. It also the urban sector also it's been extensively used. The ecology of urban ecosystem also can be understood. And also, like if you're looking at the mapping land surface temperature, site suitability analysis, or aerosol depth, these days various sensors are available where you can look into the aerosol depth, and urban sprawl is one majorly used, and modeling using this technology, these parameters. There can be a lot of modeling used to understand how impact of climate change on the urban infrastructure happening. Then also indices, various indices these days are available in NDVI. It's again using the same satellite technology. Then use simple ratio indices, moist stress indices, and normalized differential water indices. These are all based on the satellite imagery, which is freely available. You can use this technology. You can use these methods to understand what's happening in the habitat pattern of whether urban or peri-urban or even the forested areas. And also the normalized differential built index. This gives you exactly where are those built up areas are exactly coming up, where the changes in city or city limit is happening. Those level of analysis, not only just by optical thing, but using these indices, you can understand and accurately you can evaluate, or you can monitor or also quantify the changes happening in the urban sprawl. Thank you. I would like to rest my presentation here. I'm ready for any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Gopala. So we'll have the questions answered once all the speakers are done. So because it's a more of a discussion mode, we'll switch over to. So sure. We can continue with Dr. Laxmi.
Yes, please.
Yes. So I'll share your presentation.
Okay.
So I hope you're able to see.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me which slide? This slide?
Open source, 2 slides back, I think.
Okay.
From open source. Thank you, Dr. Areendran. I think you have explained much more detail about biodiversity and geospatial thing. So carrying forward, I will start with the open source data from here, how it is playing a role, and how we are able to, it has made our life much more easier with interaction. So these are some of the softwares. QGIS is one of the software which is freely available, and in comparison to the ADAS and ArcGIS, which are licensed ones. So QGIS has facilitated even common researchers, to download it and use for the analysis, and the various tutorials are available online, so they can learn by themselves also. Then next is the Google Earth Engine, which is a cloud platform, and it has vast repositories. And based on this is the Global Forest Watch platform, which has helped in analysis. And many satellite data are ingested in Google Earth Engine. So it has facilitated, you don't have to download any satellite data onto your desktop, and you can analyze in the cloud, you can save it in your login, you can retrieve as much as you can. Besides, there are very some apps are there which can be built, and the code is available online. So that is the one which facilitates us. So even if you are not a basic coder or a programmer, you can utilize the resources and learn yourself. Then one more interface is Mapbox, which has also facilitated making maps on the fly. And this is also utilized, to make interactive platforms. So these are the open source data, few which I have stated here. And next slide, please. Yeah, so the advent of programming and coding into geospatial world has also again made feasibility. So these are some of the things which I'll talk about, like Jupyter notebooks. They are Python based, and so you can create a module or a set of steps which can retrieve the satellite data and whatever analysis you want to perform till the time you need a total output, that is map. So these are the steps, and we can follow, and it is quite easy if one starts understanding it. And the next onto that only slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there are vast repositories and libraries which we can utilize it. So the programming interface helps us to call the data or call the things from the libraries and the repositories. And then comes the artificial intelligence and machine learning. So using, I think, machine learning, we have the latest which I should talk about is the ISRI's Sentinel-2 land use and land cover data. So based on that, the whole, I think all of the countries have been mapped, and land use, land cover has been mapped. Next slide, please. So all these things have helped us in visualization. So earlier, it used to take long time in analyzing the satellite data and coming to a point of visualization. But now these in the programming and open source software has helped us in visualization. Next, this thing, please. So this is Global Forest Watch, which I am talking about. So this is an interface which is developed on the basis of Google Earth Engine only, and it offers latest data, technology, and tools that can empower people everywhere to better protect forests. So this has, here you can create a login, I think, here you see. And when you go into this, you have so many data sets, and you can choose the country or the state or region, and then you can have a view whatever you want, like forest fires also, what has been the state of forest fire, and it will give you all the detailed statistics about the forest fire, as well as many other parameters like land use, land cover, and built up area, everything. So this is one interactive interactive platform where common people can also find out the details based on satellite remote sensing data. Next, please. So this platform has been, this is one example I'll give about Jane Goodall Institute in Africa. So this is one platform. They have extensively used Global Forest Watch in their program of protecting and conserving the chimpanzees. So I think Global Forest Watch was released in 2014. So after that, they have extensively used for the conservation of chimpanzees. And next, please. So in coupled with the use of UAV, remote sensing, mobile, desktop, and other accessories They have trained the common people also on ground to how to use the mobile data, and I mean how to use the mobile application. And so everything is connected to Global Forest Watch, and they have customized their area, and with that help they have conserved and protected the chimpanzees. Next. So talking about open data, this is also a worldview platform where we find again a lot of repositories are there, and here also we can find a day-to-day activity of the forest fires, and we can create a GIF, we can share the data, and we can take a screenshot. So here I think all the icons are there which help us in analyzing and interacting, and you can add many more data. I think you can add layers here and customize whatever your analysis is. So this also has near real-time data, and this is quite beneficial for us to use, especially if in the case of forest fire or any other such thing. So they have some special customized things like forest fires as well as cyclones, even earthquakes. So other things are there. This is a good repository where we can utilize. Next. So talking about Google Earth Engine, this again is, you can see the screenshot here. So this is the application interface, and these are the codes and repository which is available here. So we can select the data from here and then use the specific codes. The codes are also available online, and there are many tutorials as well which will help us. And then on the right side, we get the statistics or graphs, or even we can export the images as TIFFs, and then bring back to another platform and utilize it. So this is quite convenient because you don't have to download large data sets. Like for 40 years data, you can see, you can visualize here. So there is no need to download all the years of data. So you can specify your date and time and extract that data, as well as you can see the long-term data also here. Next. This is another platform which is Map of Life, where an effort has been made to bring the biodiversity on the map. So here also, if you can go through this website, you will see that based on the location and the area of your choice, you can get a database of how many species are there, and what all flora and fauna you get for that region. So this is one effort, and it is a joint effort of many other agencies which are collaborating together to put this effort on map. Next, please. So again, you can see the indicators, patterns, data sets, and mobile app. So right now this is on a large scale, and we need to extract information. We can extract information for our specific area, and I think we can use it on mobile app as well. So a little bit of more programming background can help us to customize it for our area, local area. So this is one of the platforms which is quite interactive and informative. Then, yes, next, please. Another effort has been taken by E.O. Wilson's Biodiversity Foundation in collaboration with ISRI, which is the Half Earth Project. The aim of this project is to protect the global biodiversity. So they aim to at least protect 30% of land and seas by the year 2030. So in this effort, again, they have brought the biodiversity on the map. And I think on the left side, you can see explore maps and the program and the other calendar of events and etc. So when you explore the maps, again, you will see a detail. If you click for your area, or if you choose the boundaries of your area, you will get a detail of many parameters. So what the area, how much area is protected, how much is the anthropogenic pressure, and how much flora and fauna is existing, what are the threats. All these parameters we can get once we start exploring the maps. Next. So an initiative of this program is to have a national report card. Like if we can have how much country-wise national report card reporting that how much biodiversity is successfully protected or how much needs to be protected. So this will be something beneficial for us to analyze ourselves, analyze the strategies by each country is utilizing towards conservation. Next, please. So with visualization, like these interactive platforms have helped us visualization. From visualization comes understanding, and then later comes action. So the use of open access data and open source softwares has facilitated biodiversity researchers and practitioners to freely create biodiversity maps and perform relevant analysis. Next. So these are the projects of which was conducted by Vindhyan Ecology and Natural History Foundation. The first one is the sloth bears of Mirzapur, which was done under the small grants project from WWF India. And the next one, we covered a little more area, that is Madihan, Sukrit and Chunar landscapes, where we had used camera traps and other accessories like GPS and other things. So this is exclusively for Mirzapur, and the other one is for the landscape, Marihan, Chunar, and etc. So we have used remote sensing data, and we have requested the government to declare this as a sanctuary, because this is we found that sloth bears are quite prominent here, and since it is a dry deciduous forest and but much rich in biodiversity. So this is our effort towards conservation. So thank you. Next, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Goparaju, for such a beautiful presentation and sharing with everyone how we can use open platform and open source data to do all the analysis. And we'll have a question and answer once last speaker finalize it, because it's in a discussion mode. So we'll have the questions at the end of the session. So coming to our next speaker, we have Dr. Swati Saini. So Dr. Swati Saini, she is an evaluation researcher, GIS and data at Green Climate Fund, Songdo, South Korea since November 2021. And she is associated with the Independent Evaluation Unit. Here she is responsible for supporting the unit in development and delivery of databases and analysis for policy, independent evaluation, review studies, learning papers, and systematic and synthesis reviews. She has completed her PhD in ecology and environment from FRI University, Dehradun, and she's MTech in energy and environment engineering from VIT University, Vellore, and she is secured third rank for the course. So over to Dr. Swati.
Thank you so much, Yogita, for the introduction. So I hope my slides are visible.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So thank you so much for this slot and this opportunity for talking about the biodiversity and ecosystem using geospatial technology. Today, I'll be touching upon the work which I have done in my last job and my last association with Wildlife Institute of India and National Tiger Conservation Authority. So I was associated with them as a GIS specialist in the tiger cell, and we were basically monitoring tigers, co-predators, prey, and their habitat for the entire country. And for this webinar for slot, I chose this topic because this primarily talks about the biodiversity conservation and use of geospatial technology. So moving ahead with my presentation, I'll be touching four major areas which we covered during the tiger monitoring and estimation exercise. Is the monitoring and estimation of tiger population for the three cycles, 2010, 2014, and for 2018. So the Project Tiger was started by Government of India in 1972. And when it got initiated, it started with the 9 tiger reserves, and now has reached 53 tiger reserves. So tiger reserves are basically protected areas created by the government for primarily conservation of tigers. But a tiger is just an umbrella species. It also, you know, take care of the other wildlife species present in that area, and also uh, uh, contribute to the conservation of the wider landscapes. And second, I'll be talking about the potential corridor mapping, which we have done for that. And majorly 31 potential corridor areas were mapped under this project. And next will be the species distribution mapping, which we have done in this project for the conservation priorities to have a map and information on conservation priorities of different species, and also informed decisions for the development projects in tiger landscape, which an initiative which we by which the unit supports for the government of India in deciding on the developmental projects, whether those should be cleared or not cleared, or if cleared, what would be the measures or steps should be taken to safeguard the wildlife species in that landscape. And also a web-based program which was developed for M-Stripes M-Stripes, which was developed for smart patrolling system for the Forest Department. And it is basically developed to enhance the capacity building of frontline staff. So moving ahead with my presentation, I'll give you a very brief idea. I'll not go too technical. I'll give you a brief idea how we have used geospatial technology. For tiger monitoring, we have used geospatial technology for designing the ground surveys, for the foot patrol, for the collection of data from field, and also for planning of camera trap surveys. So this is all done in using GIS softwares and the platforms. And next is for the, so whatever information is collected through these camera traps, we do an identification of tiger using based on their unique stripes in a different software. And once we have all information from all the three channels, we use spatial information on various covariates or variables such as forest cover maps, terrain maps, NDVIs, presence of humans, livestock, and and the other habitat parameters, and pooling this information with the ground data of different species. We use spatial models and other models to reach a density estimation for basically for tigers and other carnivores as well. So based on that, in the last assessment, we could assess like there are 2967 tigers present in the country, and not only the number, but we come up with the density estimation as well. So moving ahead, not able to go to the next slide. So I'll just give you a flavor how it is done. So this is a landscape from Uttarakhand, and these blue dots present shows the ground surveys which were done under this project, and these are the red dots presents the tiger presence on these blue dots. So after that, we also use the camera trap information in GIS software, and um, and using all this information in the GIS platform and other spatial information, we come up with tiger numbers and density estimation using the joint distribution covariate model. So I will not go into the detail of this model. So also for corridor connectivity mapping, we have used GIS. So basically under this work, 31 potential connectivities in corridors were mapped in the country. And these are basically mapped in across the 17 states where tiger presence has been detected or are informed. So, and based on that, a report was published in 2014, and we are now working on enhancing this information. Like this report was connecting tiger population for long-term conservation across 17 tiger states. The methodology which we have adopted for this work was basically using the field-based information in tiger, field-based information on tiger presence and different habitat parameters and prey information along with that. In GIS, we have used two methods like least cost analysis and circuitscape to map the potential connectivity in the landscape and the optimal pathways. So basically, which was used to map the landscape connectivity is based on the flow of current in the landscape. So tiger reserves were taken as a sources and based on the other parameters like conduciveness of this landscape. This model gives you an idea where all animal can move around, or what all the preferred areas which can be used for movement of these animals as a potential area, not as a functional areas, but rather a potential areas which connect these tiger reserves in the landscape. So this provides you an idea of how conducive this landscape is for the various species, and why corridors are important. They are important because of the free flow of animals, exchange of movement of animals to different source areas in search of food and expanding their home ranges, so that they can breed and grow and expand to other areas, find home there for food and other steps. And they can be, and it is a well-known fact in genetics, like if a population is not confined to a single space, but rather moving around into different spaces, and there is an exchange of genetic and variability in different population, they are safeguard from any stochastic events, and the chances of their survival for long term enhances. So we call in ecology, we call it as a metapopulation dynamic. So this increased connectivity or exchange of animals is very much important to have a metapopulation dynamics for longer term survival of those populations. So this was done. So moving ahead and talking about the species distribution modeling for species conservation planning. So we also have come up in our leopard report with different species distribution modeling for different species, large number of species, for which we also collect data during this project. So basically, under tiger projects, not only for the tigers, but data for other species is also collected, such as leopards, bears, herbivores, and also presence of humans, livestock. So we also collect information on those species. So species distribution models is basically pooling in information on species presence location and their environmental layers, or information which are ecologically relevant to the presence of these species using some algorithms. As previous presenters have mentioned, Maxon, Garb, these models are present, which kind of help generate a relationship between a species and the environmental factors which are important for their presence, and provide you with a predictive distribution map which gives you an idea of where there is a high probability of presence of this species. So this map can be interpret in a manner like you can get an idea which all places are having more chances of keeping those species, or have high potential of having those species, and can be used as a base map for planning conservation priorities or management for future of those species, to safeguard those species. And so this is one of the applications we have worked on. And as I was talking about the informed decisions for development projects in tiger landscape, so we had data on different species. So just to give you an example, so this was one of the coalback block which was coming between Satpura and Page a few years back. And because we had the information on different aspect in this landscape, so this forest area was very much crucial to connect Satpura and Page, and half of the block was coming into this project area. So we were able to inform government that this forested area is crucial for the exchange of animals between Satpura and Page, and were able to tell them that these blocks should not be permitted. So there is a similar kind of a decision support system other government agencies having, where these kind of information is pooled at one place, and you can provide a location of the upcoming developmental project and see whether that project should be permitted, or if permitted, what are the measures should be taken by the government. Like if it is will be hampering a crucial habitat area, then we may propose to have an underpass or overpass if it is a corridor area. If it is a buffer area, then what all measures could be taken or should be taken before that project should be allowed. Those information are available at one place, and government is using that information. So this is a very popular and crucial geospatial technology usage which government is now using for deciding clearance of different projects. So another thing which I would like to mention now is an MStrive, which is an initiative uh, uh, the, collaboratively NTC and WI has taken an Android-based app. So this app actually helps forest department to undertake their patrolling activities. So patrolling is an activity which is a regular activity of forest department, and every weed guard, they patrol their units regularly. That's their regular duty. So earlier, what used to happen, they used to go there and collect all the information on paper. So this first picture gives you an idea like how much information was stored in papers. So, but with time, these papers get destroyed, and also sometimes the information is not readily available. So you might have to go back to those tech and find out the relevant information. So, and also writing into those paper was a tedious task also. So to overcome this, so this MStripe was, and there are similar apps available, but this is one of the app which is Forest Department is now using. So this was developed where now Forest Guard can install this app on their mobile phones, go for patrolling, collect every data based on this Android app, and come back and deposit this data into their systems. And over the time, like after a month or after 10 days, they can pool this information. They can prepare maps and see which areas are under patrol, which area need more patrolling, or which part of the park is facing certain kind of issues like presence of humans or other illegal activities or presence of certain animals. So this is a very useful app which was developed. So under this app, three mobile apps are available. So one is based only on the smart patrolling thing. Second is the ecological module, where Forest Department collect information on different species, presence of different species, their signs like pug mark, and other signs which are there available in the forest. And the other is the conflict module, where information on spatial conflict database is collected, like if there is a conflict situation, so what was the what kind of like you can take a GPS and also enter information on distance from village, is there a road presence, or why people were there, or there was a conflict situation. So this information in the long run helps you to understand what are the reasons which are causing this conflict, or is it a sporadic like one time incident that happened, or it is a regularly or problematic area. So this helps design a forest manager for better protection of the park and avoid such negative interactions. So not only this app is a app which helps single tiger reserves, but after a certain period of a time, they can generate these kind of map which I just mentioned, like they can know how much patrol has been done, and they can get sign encounter maps, maps on the presence of prey, illegal activities, and also now the next step is to use of AI to understand where next patrolling should be done based on the previous information. So where to patrol next, so that the app, it's based on the AI, helps forest managers to decide on their next patrolling activities. So moving further, this MStripe is not only confined to mobile or desktop. So we have a web analytics available for the higher ups, like for the higher forest managers. So range officer can have a look at their ranges, and state officers can check their states periodically, and like that officers at the center level can check what is happening in other states. So all the data which has been collected in like on one beat is get pooled at range office, and all the data which is there at the range office is get collected over the division office, and so on this hierarchy goes on. So finally this data is saved on a central server where the central officers and other state officers, according to their authorized login, can check and have a look what is happening in their parks or in their states. So this is one of the initiative, and based on all this work, we came up with these reports under this project. So 3 cycles of tiger monitoring plus habitat information on other carnivores, leopards, and also on vultures, and water source atlas of tiger reserve, which last year we prepared, like giving an information of what water resources are present in different tiger reserves. So, and also this project was acknowledged by Guinness Book of World of Book Records based on the extensive wildlife survey, uh, on a unique extensive wildlife survey. So that's all from my side.
Thank you. Thank you, Swati, for such a wonderful presentation on how we can use geospatial technology, specifically with respect to conservation of endangered species like tiger and other such predator species in the ecological web chain. So we can now have the open discussions, and audience, if they have any questions, they can ask. I will request all the speakers to have their video and audio on.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I have a question to Dr. Areendran.
Yeah, please.
My question is that he's saying that the drone is useful for all the surveying and monitoring purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So nowadays the demand is increasing and utilization of drones day by day. So do you think that this drone application of drone is somewhere reducing our use of satellite images?
Okay. I don't think so in the longer run also, because satellite has its own advantage and drone has its own advantage. So if I can explain in detail, satellite covers a larger area, and of course in satellite you can get a resolution of up to 1 meter, even a few centimeters, depending upon your project details, what you want to achieve. If it's below 50 centimeter in India, you need to get a permission to use that. You have to go through NRSS permissions, but you can get up to 1.16 centimeter, 1.5 or 1.2 centimeter data sets. But the cost of those satellite data sets is very cheaper. Let's say for 15-20 square kilometers, you might be spending just 4,000-5,000 rupees, and you have various bands where if you're looking into the vegetation or any coverage, land cover data sets, if you want to analyze, that is perfectly fine. But drone has its own advantage for a local area, immediately for a smaller area to understand what is happening. Let's say any ecological disaster or crop acreage or crop disease monitor, drone, or you can use drone for various benefits, not only for mapping, you can also use for spraying. They're using in the crop when they're spraying pesticides or something. Let's say they're using using drones these days, or even for monitoring fire in a forested area, or to douse the fire. They are trying to attempt those things. It depends upon the payload, how much the drone can carry. So drone will eventually evolve and improvise in their services, especially in the mapping sector. It will be very, like if you are looking at a local level, smaller LIDAR data sets, you want to look into certain things, you can use drones. And if you're doing some surveys, local surveys, if you understand a elevation pattern of a smaller area, rather than going with a freely available data sets, smaller area, you can do those elevation data set exactly. You can map using the drones. It has its own advantage, but I don't think so. Satellite data will eventually go off in a longer run because it coverage and availability, and for a larger area, and recurring data sets like drone every time, depending upon the permission, which locations you are monitoring or if you're mapping. The logistics involved in doing a drone mapping may not be that easy as satellite data, because satellite data these days is you can every 5 days or 4 days, I think even 2 days, certain satellites are available where you can collect those area of a same location. You can get those data. So each has its own pros and cons. But my understanding, I don't think so. Satellite data is eventually will will not become a redundant. That's my opinion. I'm sure my other colleagues here, experts, can also comment on that. If I understood correctly your question, am I right with my answer? Please let me know.
Yeah, agree. Yeah. But somewhere I have an apprehension that demand of drone will increase.
Of course, drone for
Hello?
last 5 years after the policy. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, demand of drone will increase because the policies also is slowly changing. Drone is not only used for mapping; it's many other purposes. Demand is going to, and I being let me give an example. In Delhi last 5-6 years, various if I attended few marriages, I've seen drone they're using for even taking photographs of doing many other things using the same drone for taking photographs, which is like I am not very comfortable with that. But science point of view, of course, the increase is going to demand is going to really go up in a big way. But immediate solutions for a local area, their drone will play a major role. But in a longer monitoring purpose, I think satellite will still remain the most dependable because it has its own evolved in a
Yeah, thank you so much. I have one more question. There are some Ramsar sites. Is it that those sites are also related with biodiversity?
Yes, very much. Wetland plays a major role in integrating interplay. Yeah. Biodiversity, of course. Yeah. Depending upon where is the location is all about.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have one question for Dr. Swati. So you have talked about this monitoring system, and it is connected with all the areas with respect to tiger reserves. But the one thing which I am really apprehensive is that this system which is developed, and then the forest department also develops own GIS systems. So how can we integrate this system, which is developed for a central location and state connected to the level of beat to the existing departmental systems? Because this is a challenge we find, like we have all the systems come into place, but then they don't talk to each other, and they work in silos.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, there were parallel systems as well, but not in every state. So if you look at the North Indian states and the central states, they were still using paper maps, and they were not having. Only I found in South Indian state they had systems and apps, but that system was restricted to a park. So we wanted to bring a system or a platform where central management can come into picture and decide on the policies or some schemes which is applicable to all the rest of the India. So that's why the system was I think the system is now been from last 7 years being implemented. Forest department has been trained into that. So earlier we were training them to collect the data and put it into that system. Now we have come up with the mobile apps in the last 2018 tiger cycle. So many of the states have used the mobile app to collect the data, and in this current cycle also people are using mobile apps to collect the information. So once they get used to this mobile app, it will be easy for them also to even collect the data and keep it in safely. So we have also tried to integrate their local systems into this system so that they can easily can import the data which was collected earlier to the system.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so those
Because actually,
efforts are going on.
now there are a lot of forest departments which are developing their own departmental systems, because now they've realized the importance of GIS, and even the externally aided projects, they focus on building such systems, and when you already have such systems existing, but only for a portion of work they are doing it. So how how it's very important that we have to think about these kind of integrations.
Yeah, very agreed. I think most of the we have covered three major areas for which Forest Department collect information, but there are other areas also like their local plans for that also they for reforestation and other forestry activities they also try to have a system and collect information on that is not integrated in the current system, but maybe in future we might think about having a separate module which helps to have the data to the system.
Yeah,
I think.
I also would like to add what Swati was saying is that especially in data sets on the plantations these forest department are doing. I've been working with them for the last 28 years, but especially they're not bringing that on the GIS platform, especially plantations. What is the success rate, where it is done, how much? That will really
Yeah.
put an end to many of the speculations of what is exactly what is happening to this forest landscape restoration. Now the forest cover is increasing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the truth. We have to look into that. Yeah.
Yes, may I add to that? So, sir, you are at a position, where you can facilitate much more than a common researcher can do. So, I wish, we should integrate more of GIS and the spatial technologies. So, the first thing is each state in India has different rules and regulation, and you have to convince each government for the same methodology. You have to convince each government. So this is one drawback which we have, and we should mingle with the IFS officers or forest officials and train them or give them awareness about our technology and what we can do. And I'm sure we have solution through GIS for every problem, even human animal conflict, whatever it is, we have everything. The only
Yeah.
thing is we need to bring it to a common platform, and one methodology developed for one state should be followed for every state. So it should be that easy, that flow should be easy. So this is
Yeah.
No,
see, projects come and
Sorry.
go. So when the projects come and go, they give you some
yes.
output and go. There is no continuation as such and nothing. I'm still struggling how to convince even a common forest official or a common people. So that connectivity should be developed.
Yeah. Can I add to that? Yeah, I
No,
understand, Dr. Lakshmi. That sorry. Yeah. Sorry to. Yeah. The thing is that, of course, every forest department today in the country, throughout all the states, wherever the forest is, they know this technology is very, very important, and everybody into digital system. As Swati was mentioning, South India's South Forest Department is little advanced in the technology. Few North India also. I won't say that. The thing is that the openness of sharing the data or bringing to a common platform is the biggest question. Even now, it is existing. Let's say even Tiger database, and I'm also part of the next WI also. Is NTCA holding the data sets, and we know what is happening from each protected area level. But state behaves differently when it comes to NTCA data sets, and getting them used to use this technology is changing. I can see last 30 years as the generation changes. The youngsters, young forest officials are very receptive of the idea of getting into the systems, and they are developing their own systems. And eventually, I hope that it will get a centralized thing. Things will change. Next 10 years is going to change. But of course, there is still ifs and buts are there. I agree with that's the situation. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
even in this webinar, I will share this thing that most of our webinar have like audience, even students and everything, like till 50, we have it like we get 100, 150 registration. But I think biodiversity ecosystems, they are not in the consciousness of most of the people, and like as an environmental person, as a person who understand that how climate change is at our doorsteps, and how it is going to impact us, our entire survival is at stake right now. We are in those times, and we have all this COP27 and all those things, and now people, like common people, are being impacted by climate, the pollution and all this thing. But still the conservation, ecosystem restoration, these are not a part of a mass
No.
consciousness, which I'm really.
Yeah, true, very much true. I'll just give an example. Swati, just 1 second. So I'll just give an example. Smart city planning the smart city planning happening across various smart cities has been selected. If you really look into the plans, hardly you will get biodiversity being mentioned in the smart city. How is it possible? Today in 2022, I don't want to take names, but I know there are. I've been working with few city commissioners, and their plans doesn't even talk about biodiversity. Even local, urban biodiversity is not mentioned in their plan. So when government itself is like, across the border, it's difficult to explain the general public behaving in that. Yeah, yeah. Yes, sorry. Yeah, Swati, you can.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one thing which Dr. Areendran will agree with me. Like when I started my career, I saw like forest department were hesitant and were not aware about the even shape files, their administrative boundaries, and we had to struggle to get that information, and that is the basic information. But now after 7-8 years down the line, we now have administrative boundaries digitized for almost every state in India. And this has happened in last 6-7 years. And also now if you interact with even with the bead guard, he knows what shapefile is. He talks about a shapefile. So that change, I'm like, my career is I'm like more junior, so less that I have seen in my career itself. Like the now forest department is so smart. They talk about the shapefiles and they talk about like, okay, our boundaries are digitized and stuff. But I think around 7 years back, it was a challenge for us people who were working with ecosystems, forest departments, to get the right amount of information from them.
That's true. That's true. See, Google has really put.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you can go ahead, Dr. Wataru.
Forest department, and then I can agree with you. The difficult to share the information, but basically, in the presentation, I want to say that their mentality is to increase the forest cover. That's the thing. And then where the forest goes, this ecosystem service is not that yet. So they should have an idea the zoning, and then zoning come with geo information needed, and then we are doing that in a project to monitor the forest plantation area and so on. That first thing to, because it's a huge area. Huge area is depend on how forest department work will impact huge in India. So that's very important.
Totally agree with you. Yeah. That's true. That's true. I agree with you. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Carry on. Yeah.
Yeah. Please.
And then outside of a forest area, they cannot work at all. That's a huge degraded area available, like a state like in West Bengal. Then that is how to outside of a forest area is another important topic. And I mean mass scale. You can do many good work, and a lot of sophisticated tool can be developed, but to institutions who accept and use in a practical way will change the rule. Then the first thing I wanted to say was this Green India mission. How to approach the Green India mission? It's a huge project. The government, flagship this project. How to approach that? That had a huge task in that. That's there.
So in this context, I would like to say that we need to have our satellite data for our country, like in the sense, like Africa has done. There is an interface, Digital Earth Africa. So they have a centralized place, and they satellite data is available for the whole Africa continent. So from there, the retrieval, whatever the Jupyter notebooks or other things are used, the retrieval is fast rather than for the whole world. So similarly, we should have something like for our country. So as a center point.
One is one feasible location where we can have that.
But I think it should be more fast and more this thing.
That's
so that I have experience with Digital Earth Africa. So it's very easy. Even you can get sentinel data within minutes. The moment you order or your moment you interact with it online.
True.
And based on that, the Jupyter notebooks are there for everything, like forest fragmentation or identification of crops, etc. Only thing is you have to modify the date and time and your area of interest. So That way, even if not for the country, at least something at the state level should be there. So we can start with the state level and then go to the this thing. But such huge servers are needed to be maintained, which requires I think a lot of funds and etc. to maintain that thing. So that way it is quite feasible to, you know, rather than going globally and then acquiring the data to our own area. So based on this, you know, many apps also will have benefit because they have to only you know, extract data for their particular region. So that way people are, you know, downsizing it and going it for specifically for apps and other things. If you want to modify your area, or if you want to have a closer look at a particular area. So I have experience, and I have been a reviewer for some projects like this, so which I appreciate, and I would wish if something like that happens in India, it should be very good.
Yeah.
I have a question to Dr. Lakshmi.
Yes.
Ma'am, we have a TI format. We have Google Earth, which is used, मतलब उसका जो आउटपुट होता है वो TI फॉर्मेट में होता है. उसको अभी हम फर्दर एनालिसिस के लिए फिर यूज नहीं कर सकते हैं बाद में. तो उसका जो आउटपुट हमको फर्दर एनालिसिस के लिए चाहिए अगर, तो उसको हम मतलब कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं आगे के लिए.
अच्छा, उसको आपको चाहिए रिमोट सेंसिंग डेटा के साथ यूज करना चाहिए
जी.
तो ये तो उनके तो गूगल के तो कुछ लाइसेंसेस हैं, आई डोंट नो मच डिटेल्स, बट उसके पैरेलल एक है ओपन स्ट्रीट मैप, विच आई थिंक वेरी फ्यू नो, लेकिन वो फ्री है और आप उसमें मतलब फ्रीली डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं, एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं, एंड यू कैन यूज इट. एंड QGIS है, वो इंटरफेस है, वहाँ पे प्लग इन है जहाँ से आप ओपन स्ट्रीट मैप को डायरेक्टली वहाँ ले आ सकते हैं.
Yeah,
So
I can
would
answer
say,
that.
yes.
Sure, yeah. In fact, आप ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं. Google Earth Engine आजकल चल रहा है, GE काफी ट्रेनिंग दे रहे हैं जिसमें आप डायरेक्टली रॉ डेटा सेट को आप डाउनलोड करो, आपको कौन सा सॉफ्टवेयर से आप उसको इंटरफेस बना सकते हैं. यू डोंट हैव टू वर्क ऑन अ गूगल अर्थ, यू हैव टू गो टू गूगल अर्थ इंजन. थोड़ा बहुत प्रोग्रामिंग का आजकल ट्रेनिंग इतना ईजी है, आप कर सकते हैं. जैसे QGIS से डायरेक्टली गूगल अर्थ इंजन को आप ये कर सकते हैं. आप थोड़ा रीड करेंगे गूगल अर्थ इंजन के बारे में, आप इट विल बी वेरी इजी फॉर यू टू.
Actually also heard about Earth Explorer. Explorer. From there you can download and then you can work it on.
Yeah, you search. Yeah, you can search.
See, Earth Explorer is exclusively for data download. Google Earth Engine है, आप डेटा पहले देख लीजिए, आपको कौन कौन से दिन का चाहिए आप पूरा देख लीजिए, आप उसमें फिर प्रोग्रामिंग के तहत आप शॉर्ट कर सकते हैं, आपको कितना से कितना दिन चाहिए, और then you can export it as much and as much you need it. So Earth Explorer is there where you have to download the scene wise, but here in Google Earth Engine you can download according to the boundaries as well. बस थोड़ा सा प्रोग्रामिंग का आपको नॉलेज चाहिए, और वो बहुत इजी है, वो ऑनलाइन सब चीज आपका अवेलेबल है. You have to follow tutorials as per your needs.
I would add to the question in the sense that what happens is like we do some kind of analytics on Google Earth Engine. For example, burnt ratio or say flood modeling, we do it. So the output we can download it, okay, but we cannot use that output for any further analysis. Like when we do a thematic analysis using the conventional software, whether it is QGIS or what other softwares, but the output which we get download from the Google Earth Engine, we cannot use that output for any further analytics.
You can use it. It is in TIFF format. You have to bring that into ArcGIS or EDAS, and there you can do the quantification.
I tried doing it, but
no, even on Google Earth Engine also you can do quantification, but you have to go into that coding, specific coding.
We see once we get, so we get this normalized burn ratio, final map, okay.
Yes.
And when we download that map, okay, it is in the TIFF format.
Yes.
But that format is not usable for further analysis.
No. I think so. No, GeoTIFF format. You can bring it into ERDAS and you can just
Yes,
change
yes.
the values
Yes.
you can play on.
No, I
Yes.
You can
have
try
I have
that.
done
Yeah.
No,
that
I have
before.
done it. That is why I'm telling you. I have done it recently. That is why I'm telling you. You can get everything from there. And besides, if you want to use, there are many small apps also in Google Earth Engine where you have to, I think, make an account in cloud, and there you can give. If you want to keep it running, you can use your output in that app also.
Okay, because I downloaded that TIFF format and it did not open in any of the conventional software. So
Okay, no, it opens. It opens.
we just conclude. It was a very great session today to have you all on this panel, and it was with climate uncertainties at our doorsteps, biodiversity and ecosystem conservation. It should be on our priority list, top in our priority list, and we hope that through this webinar we can increase that awareness and how geospatial technologies have a crucial role in bringing this information on ecosystems and bringing the uh, earth intelligence, which is there hidden in these ecosystems, to fore and help in decision making, in right decision making. So thanks to all the speakers, and it was really a wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yogita. It was really a good
Thank you, Yogita.
experience and nice learning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.